It feels counterintuitive to call a fighter of Nathaniel Wood's quality a prospect. He's been in the UFC since 2018 and has victories over notable guys. But he only recently moved to featherweight, and as such, I think it's fair to still consider him a work in progress. Also, his nickname is literally the prospect, so. In his most recent fights against Charles Rosa and Charles Jourdain, we've seen the full breadth of his sensational skill set, from a gorgeous jab to his brutal low kicks, down to his dynamic scrambling. But the facet we're going to focus on today are his trips, and how they help to keep his opponents from resting when he enters the clinch. Trips aren't anything new, but it appears they've experienced a sort of renaissance in recent times, thanks to groups like the B team in BJJ. Whilst fighters have been utilising inside and outside trips from double underhooks and over-under for years, the more non-committal foot sweeps from single or double collar ties that you might find in Muay Thai are only just starting to become more popular within the meta. Nathaniel Wood is a prime example of mixed martial arts starting to appreciate these trips more readily. Wood's debut at featherweight came versus Charles Rosa, and his performance was emblematic of his continued growth as a fighter. His jab was sticking, he was showing off a great rolling left hook, his calf kicks hurt Rosa repeatedly, and when he got in close, he was unafraid to implement his elbows and knees effectively. After knocking Rosa down with counter low kicks on multiple occasions, Wood decided he'd start to vary it up. Here, Rosa sets up the level change with an overhand left that Wood pulls back to avoid, before Wood establishes the left forearm as a frame, before switching that hand to a single collar tie and trying to pull Rosa's left leg out. Whilst he didn't accomplish it successfully on that occasion, he hit it perfectly half a minute later off of the same setup. Rosa throws the shifting overhand left that Wood avoids, but instead of looking for the single collar tie, Wood keeps his left hand free and low, preventing Rosa from holding onto it as his left leg is tripped out. A small adjustment, but necessary to execute the trip appropriately. This trip, a short while later, similar to the previous one, works flawlessly, in part because of timing. Wood executes the trip as Rosa is swimming his arms through for an underhook. As such, Rosa is focused on the upper body clinch work, leaving his legs free for a cheeky trip. Versus Charles Jourdain, Wood was matched up with a southpaw who presented danger in every range of the fight. Their initial entry into the clinch occurred early in the contest, and Wood spent much of this exchange trying to maintain space, posting on the hips. Jourdain immediately got to work by going up the middle with knees, forcing Wood to search for the double collar ties. It was after abandoning the collar ties that Wood was able to pull Jourdain's left leg out, after Jourdain attained his own single collar tie on the same side as the trip. It's quite obvious that Wood prefers to target his opponent's left leg with his right leg, and this example proves this point most decidedly. Wood moves to Jourdain's side, taking a superior angle, and reaches across himself with the right leg to trip Jourdain over. In this instance, it might seem more natural for Wood to step behind Jourdain with his left leg, but I'd argue that Wood reaches across with the right because this way, there's less chance that he gives up the back. Stepping across with the left would turn his hips away from Jourdain, meaning the back would be more accessible if Jourdain were to avoid the trip. By using the right, Wood always keeps his hips in line with Jourdain. The benefit of implementing these trips into his game are twofold. They get Wood's opponents to the ground with significantly less energy expenditure than your standard takedown, and they pacify his opponents in the clinch. Here, Jourdain throws a lengthy 4-punch combination, but once he attains the double collar tie, he's just looking for better hand placement and control, because he knows that he could end up on his back. Jourdain had averaged 110.25 strikes landed per fight in his previous 5 contests, minus his first round victory over Lando Venata. As such, creating threats which discourage his offense is incredibly important. One of the most entertaining sequences of the fight occurs late in the second round, when Jourdain punishes Wood's complacency in the clinch with a takedown of his own. This beautiful inside trip from Jourdain forces Wood to build up from his side, and when they return to their feet, Wood uses this as an opportunity to start looking for the inside trip himself. The use of an opposite side underhook into a knee pick feels very reminiscent of Henry Cejudo and the way that he secures his inside trip. Here, against Demetrius Johnson in their rematch, Cejudo elevates the left side of DJ's body, forcing him to put more weight on his right leg to balance. It's from here that Cejudo, who's already stepping in deep thanks to the inside trip he's performing with his leg, is able to pick up the right knee to better secure the takedown. The clinch is an interesting facet within mixed martial arts, as for some it's a place to rest. For others it can be a source of offense, a place where they can land rear-handed uppercuts a la Daniel Cormier, or massive elbows like Leon Edwards. And for some, it's a great opportunity to transition to the ground and create exchanges in that area. Nathaniel Wood's tripping game demonstrates the versatility of this space, as it gives him the opportunity to move to the ground when necessary, but also creates hesitation in his opponents that allow him to work his own offense, or just post his head for a quick breather if necessary. Watch out for the continued progression of featherweight Nathaniel Wood, because if his most recent performances in the weight class are any indication, he may very well prove to be a major commodity in the division.